This local model doesn't know who won the latest Formula One race. The answer happened after its training cutoff. But once we give the agent search, it can stop guessing and go look. For the practical part, we'll use searching as a private web search broker. But the bigger idea is tools and skills. How agents reach outside the model, call outside capabilities, and use instructions to handle the results. On the JetsonHacks account on GitHub, there is a repository named searching-search. Clone that repository, and then switch to that repository's directory. It says here that searching-search is a practical reference project for building an agent-facing search capability on top of searching. What a coincidence. That's exactly what we're going to do. Now we run the install script. This is a fresh Jetpack install, so we have to either use sudo or add ourselves to the Docker group. We'll add ourselves to the Docker group and cheat a little for the addition to take effect. A better solution is to either reboot or log out and back in again. Okay, let's try it again. I'm choosing port 8081 to serve on so it doesn't conflict with other servers we will be setting up. Searching has a web interface. Let's open that up. We'll do a quick search for Jetson, Orin, Nano. And to no surprise, we get back search results. But notice, it seems a little odd. There are no ads like you normally see. You can also categorize your search, such as news. Let's take a look at images. We get back related images. I'm not quite sure why Datadog is in here, but I'd be the last one to exclude him. Let's take a look at the news while we're here. One of the keys here is that we can make these search calls programmatically. Let's go over what we're looking at here. When most people think about search, they think about Google or Brave. You type in a question, a search provider finds and ranks results from the web and sends back a page. AI systems can use search through an API, but at that point search becomes infrastructure. API keys, rate limits, usage costs, and a direct connection between your agent's questions and that provider. Searching takes a different route. You run the search layer yourself. Your program sends a query to searching, and searching gathers results from different search services into one response. That is Metasearch, one request in, results from multiple sources, one response out. For agents, searching strips search down to the useful parts: titles, links, snippets, and sources. No ads, no sidebars, no page layout. Search still reaches the outside web, but the agent talks to your searching server first. Put that server behind a VPN, and upstream services see the VPN endpoint instead of your home or lab network. For a human, the response can be a web page. For a program, it can be JSON. There is a Python example on how to make a call to the search server in the repository. Let's run it. As you can see, the results return as JSON. One interesting field is engine, which is where the response was culled from. More on that later. If you call this from an AI agent, this is named a tool call. When you install the server with the scripts, a settings.yaml file is created. You need to make sure that JSON is one of the formats to work with code. You can also set the address and port of the server here so that you don't need environment variables to work with it. A model context protocol server allows programs to discover tools. I've written a MCP server for searching. For the demo, we'll start the MCP server. Then we'll connect to it using a llama.cpp web browser serving a Gemma 4 LLM. Let's run a quick test and make sure the search server is up and running. All of these commands are copied over from the instructions. Okay, so that looks good. Now we need to start up the MCP server. I'll start up a new terminal, then launch the MCP server. There are two versions. One works through HTTP, the other through standard I/O. Some agents, like OpenClaw, use the standard I/O version of MCP servers. Here, we're using the HTTP version. Let's run a quick test to make sure everything is working correctly. Looking good. Let's start up the Llama server and load Gemma 4. This takes several minutes, depending on your connection speed. We download the Docker container and the model. Once everything is loaded, we'll start a web browser on localhost, port 8080. Let's warm up the server with a simple greeting. I'll ask it who won the Miami Grand Prix in 2026. Its training cutoff date is well before that, so it doesn't know the answer. This sequence takes about a minute in real time. Now let's add the MCP server. You'll notice that the searching MCP server advertises itself. Tell me, you little rascal, who won the race? It reasons for about 20 seconds, and then, as you can see, it makes a tool call to our MCP server. It reasons some more and tells us the search results. We'll go over how this works later in the video. When I originally recorded this video, there was a 20-minute segment on agents and skills. I think it's better to explain it rather than walk through it. You can work with it on your own. It's in the examples folder under skill demo. There's a simple agent written in Python, which you can call with tools or skills. You can think of a skill as text instructions for a LLM on how to use a given tool efficiently or accomplish a task. AI systems call this by different names, but most have this basic idea. Training a large language model is not a simple task. It requires a large amount of data and a knowledge of computational statistics, which most people are not exposed to until upper division at a university. However, once you have a trained model in hand, there are two simple concepts to remember. First, there is the predictive side of AI. This is the model itself. Given an input, it predicts what is likely to come next. That ability comes from relationships discovered in the data it was trained on, and that data can be almost anything digital: text, images, audio, video, sensor signals, and so on. Second, there is the deterministic side. This is traditional computer programming. Same input, same operation, same result. No guessing involved. The trained model is not magic by itself. It is a large structure of numbers that ordinary software has to load, run, and interpret. That software runs the model, interprets the output, and decides what happens next. While the two ideas are simple, real systems get complicated quickly. Part of the confusion comes from different names for similar pieces, but the larger issue is that the whole stack is evolving so fast that it can be hard to say, start here. New model releases show up constantly. Inference servers, the software that actually loads and runs those models, change to make the models faster, more efficient, and easier to serve. Over time, they also absorb features that proved useful in clients, scripts, and agent frameworks. The client side changes too. Chat interfaces, coding assistants, and agents adapt to what the inference server can do, but they also push the system forward by discovering new ways to get useful work done. We usually think of the flow this way. A user makes a request to an agent or client. That might be a chat interface, a coding assistant, or a more generic program. And the user does not have to be a human. It could be another program, another service, or even another agent. The agent then shapes the request into the form the inference server expects and sends it along. The inference server prepares the request for the model, runs the model, and returns the result to the agent. The agent then decides what to show the user, what to keep as context, and what to do next. At least that's what it was if you live in the past, say around 2024. In many earlier tool-using systems, most of the tool logic lived in the agent. The agent decided when a tool might help, called the tool, collected the result, and sent that result back to the model as more context. As tool use became common, model creators started training models to understand tool calling more directly. Instead of only producing ordinary text, the model could produce a structured request. Call this tool with these arguments. That changed the job of the inference server and the agent. The inference server could expose tool calling support in a standard format, while the agent still handled the outside work, executing the tool, collecting the result, and deciding what happens next. In the simplest version, the agent has a specific tool built into it. If it needs search, the search tool is part of the agent. That works, but it does not scale very well. Every new tool becomes another custom integration. MCP, the Model Context Protocol, moves us toward a toolbox model. An MCP server is a program that exposes tools in a standard way. The agent can connect to that server, ask what tools are available, and get back the descriptions and input schema it needs to use them. But even with a full toolbox, the agent still decides which particular tools to use for a given request. Now we get to the model-facing part of tool calling. The agent does not just send the user's question by itself. It makes a tool-aware request. Along with the user message, it includes the tools that the model is allowed to use for this turn. The inference server takes that request and applies the model's chat template. That template formats the conversation, the instructions, and the tool descriptions into the structure the model was trained to understand. From the model's point of view, the tools are descriptions in text. It sees something like, here is a tool named Web Search, here is what it does, and here are the arguments it accepts. It is important to know that the model does not call the tool. It predicts a request to call the tool. Sometimes the model predicts an ordinary answer, but if the tool looks useful, it predicts text in the shape of a tool call. Call this tool with these arguments. The inference server recognizes that shape and returns it to the agent as a structured tool call, usually as JSON. The agent then does the outside work. It executes the tool, collects the result, and sends that result back to the inference server as more context. Then the model can continue from there, now with the tool result included in the conversation. Once the agent has a toolbox, the next question is how to use those tools well. That is where the skill layer comes in. In this context, a skill provides text instructions for tool use. It tells the model when a tool is useful, what inputs to provide, and how to interpret the result. It can also give the agent the access information needed to reach the tool. Skills can cover many kinds of tasks, but for this video we are focused on tools. The tool is the capability. MCP is the connection. The skill is the operating guide plus the access card. So far, the examples have mostly been single-pass agent calls. One bounded request, one tool decision, one response. The same ideas apply when the system has a run loop. In that case, an agent harness keeps the process moving. It sends requests to the model, handles tool calls, adds results back into context, and repeats the cycle until the task is done. This pattern now shows up across frontier model providers, coding assistants, and open agent projects. The implementations differ, but the basic loop is the same. At the beginning, I said this process is simple, but in a complicated way. That still feels like the right description. If you think of the model as something very good at pattern matching, surrounded by software that shapes requests, runs the model, handles tools, and turns results into action, the system becomes less mysterious. It can still surprise you. It can still delight you. But it does not have to feel like black magic. To me, this feels a little like the early automobile. The first cars looked like horseless carriages because that was the world they came from. But the automobile did not become ubiquitous because people got better at operating awkward machines. The whole machine evolved. Starters replaced hand cranks. Ignition timing became automatic. Chokes and carburetors disappeared. Over time, the difficult parts were absorbed into the design. We are on a similar journey with large language models and agents. They are already useful, but they still expose too much of the machinery. Over time, more of that complexity will be absorbed into the design.